All right, guys, I'm calling this meeting to order. Thanks for showing up, and also our guests, Bert and Danny. Welcome. First order of business is the acceptance of the minutes from October 8th. Everybody get a chance to peruse Paul's excellent notes?
I think there was an update, right, from Elliot in terms of a second person that we voted in. So is it the minutes as amended?
Did
they get amended? I don't see an amended copy sent.
Paul?
No, I mean, my comment came pretty late yesterday when I was preparing my report. And yeah, so
So Paul, did you want to amend the report?
provisionally, with the amendment pending?
What is it? What are we talking about?
So Bruce, so you acknowledged that there was a vote for Liam Gong, but we also voted for Bruce Pullman. So he's a member as well. And that wasn't reflected in the minutes.
Okay.
So Paul, you'll just update those minutes?
I'll move to amend Paul's minutes to add Bruce Pullman as a member. We accepted, approved.
Okay. Second?
Just getting comfortable.
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Okay.
I move we accept the minutes as amended.
Yeah.
Second.
Oh,
I
no.
thought we already voted on that.
Oh, okay. All right.
We voted to it.
Amend it.
Oh.
Trying to follow the letter of the law. So
Danny, I think you need to mute yourself.
Getting feedback, Danny.
I know how to do that.
Put you on mute.
I'm put you on mute.
Hit Alt A.
My phone.
He's on his phone.
Oh,
Dana, see if, as host, see if you could do it.
I'll mute you.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. All right, so did we get the minutes taken care of?
I think we have a second, but we need to approve the vote.
Okay.
We need to vote on the accepting the minutes. Yeah.
All right, so all in favor of accepting the amended minutes, raise your hand. Okay, that's done. Thank you, guys.
So do I send this out to everybody amended or what?
Sure.
Yeah, yes, to the board.
Okay.
Okay, next up is Dave Morley, Treasury Report.
All right, here is the regular treasury report. Up in the top right hand corner, you'll see that we cut $17,534.29. The biggest issue or biggest things this month, of course, were the cabaret. But I'll just highlight, we did get $677.50 from Harmony Foundation. And we got some dues. And we have one member who was at the, I won't name, but you can guess who it is, gave us $150. And I will move on to the profit and loss from the cabaret, unless somebody has questions on the other. The cabaret, we ended up with, on the bottom, $3,027, which we budgeted $3,000, so that's great. Ticket sales, $72.93. We spent $352 on creations. The quartet fee was $750. We paid them $100 for expenses, and we paid for their hotel. The auction was amazing, $2,100. And thank you to all of the ladies who put that together. Food costs netted out $3,100. The costs were actually $3,563, but he took in $50 in cash. Any questions on profit and loss for the cabaret?
Comment?
Yes?
So if you divide the food by the number of people we had, yeah, I came out with $14 a head. I was estimating like 220 people, all told. $14 a head. And if you say it was 50-50 dinner and ice cream, you know, it should be averaging out to $10 a head. So we paid a lot more than what we had, you know, what we were like built into the price. And there was a lot of stuff left over. So I think we need to figure out the provisioning a little better, because I think the profits could have been higher. We threw out a lot. People took home a lot. I know I took home around 20 sandwiches. There were guests leaving with sandwiches. So anyway, that's just something we should try and manage.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
Elliot,
I think
part
part of that.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Michael.
So like, you know, I wound up buying 7 tickets, which was sort of the number that Dave K was suggesting bought. And I think that, you know, I actually had only one person show up, unless you count like Barbara for both things. So maybe I used 3 tickets. So that was 4 ghost people who were eating. And that was probably part of the problem in the overbuying. And I don't really know how to fix that, because obviously we don't want to be in the opposite situation either. I wonder if there's any way that that we can get more food at the last minute in an emergency or something.
Yeah,
Well-
one counterpoint to that though is that the ticket was bought, so that's still whether they ate it or not, it's still $14 a person, including like I mean I don't know how much ice cream was going to cost, but like I don't know what should ice cream cost, $4 a person.
But I think that's the point, you know, that a number we bought based on the number of sold tickets, not the number of anticipated guests. And the other thing that we did was build into Jerry's estimates the historic expectation of the kind that we usually get 15 to 20 people buying tickets at the door at each of the dinner and the afternoon thing. And we had less than that this time. So he was building in the expectation, but I think we had 8 people at the afternoon and 5 people in the evening or something like that bought tickets at the door. So there was this, we have to make certain assumptions, and based on those assumptions, we bought the amount of food that we bought. Now, the experience gives us an interesting data point that we haven't had in the past, which is that if our members do in fact move forward and order tickets early, then we have fewer people who are going to end up just showing up at the door, because we've already accounted for the majority of those people. And you know, so maybe we don't have to add an extra 15 or 20 tickets per each show as an anticipation from the standpoint of you know, buying at the door.
Right, and there are quite a few no-shows for the dinner.
There were a lot of no-shows for both shows, but that's okay, you know. And you don't know whether that's going to happen or not. So
It just explains a lot about the overage leftovers.
Mark has his hand up.
Thanks.
Mark.
Bert is asking how can you buy ghost tickets? We did that. You just buy them in your own name and then nobody shows up, and that's fine with your credit card on the website. My comment is that and I don't know this directly from Jerry, but I heard from Andrew that Jerry had intentionally bought both sandwiches and chicken enough that everybody could have both in case, because he didn't want to disappoint anybody. So that, I think, may be the biggest factor that accounts for the overage of food. We don't need to do that. Like on an airplane, if you're near the back, you don't get your choice of entree. And I think we should make our plans that way in the future to maybe cut some of the cost out.
Good point.
Yeah, good. Larry,
I know that Elliot's already mentioned it, and I noticed it too, that, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that during our Friday meetings, Jerry had presented that whatever is left over, that we could sell to members to recoup some of that cost.
Yes.
I know that after I was done Saturday night with all my activities, I asked Jerry, I said, I know we had a lot of chicken. Did that all leave already? Oh, no, it's all we put it in the freezer. So he ended up giving me a bucket of chicken, which, I mean, you know, the thing was full, like 20 pieces of chicken in there. So what I'm wondering is, I don't think that happened. I think
Yeah.
kind of given
And I have an explanation for that.
Okay.
Jerry was looking to send out a message to the group at large that there was additional food, especially the frozen stuff, the ice creams, and then the beverages and stuff, because we had plenty of iced tea, you know, bottled iced tea and stuff like that. And for whatever reason, when he was trying to send something to either the announce or the member mailing list, he wasn't able to get anything out. And I didn't really, you know, I thought I had fixed that for him, but I didn't fix it for him, and I didn't send it out for him. And as a result, no one was notified that on Thursday, this past Thursday, there was the opportunity to pick up stuff. I know near the end of the evening, I think Danny got some stuff, because he said, yeah, because Jerry, at the end, we were looking at stuff and packing things into bags, and he goes, oh, okay. So the expectation and the intention was there, but the execution did not follow through. So as a result, a number of items were not sold and purchased by the members, which was the original intent.
So I feel like there's a lot more points on this discussion, but also that we could move on. Maybe we can, the value in this discussion is going to be the institutional memory of what we learned for next time. And I would also like Jerry to participate in the conversation. So maybe we can make a Google Doc or something and have all of these points in there. And then that can be useful next time we do a show with food.
Makes sense.
Shall I continue with the treasurer's report then?
please.
And
Hey, sorry, one more thing on the show budget. I'm surprised that it was $1,500 for the quartet. That also doesn't include the $150 that I donated for dinner for them. But that's fine. I'm just surprised that number's high for someone 4 hours away.
Yeah, we ended in the bigger chunk of that was the hotel thing, which we agreed that we would do. And the reason we agreed that the team, let me explain that. The team that was we were meeting every week, the planning committee. And when the rental of the facility went down from $1,500 to $712, we agreed that we would just, rather than try to find rooms for guys, for the quartet members at a house from one of the guys and split them up, that we would just spend the money to get a hotel room. And it turned out to be less than the amount of money that we saved on the rental fee. So we figured, let's just do it. So that's the primary reason that it was so high.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks for that context, Dave.
All right, go ahead, Dave, Marley.
all right, so the top part here is the income. And as you can tell, we're lower than our budget. Primarily, I would say in two areas. One is Benevity is, in the past, we've had income from Google. That's down And also we've had income from Harmony Foundation, and that's down. This is, the cabaret was right on. The show was, of course, down. We knew that. And we haven't had any performance fees. So the others are roughly in line. As far as expenses go, we're down a little, but that's fine. We haven't, the bottom line is that it's down there at the bottom, $4,300, which in the total bottom line, that's okay. I mean, if we continue like we are, we may have to ask to have members donate, but I think we're okay.
Dave, do we have any anticipated expenses for the balance of the year?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So we're paid up for the year as far as the rental at the facility for our
Yeah.
rehearsals and stuff?
That's correct. I paid the rental, and I guess I will owe Curtis some to the end of the year.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the expected expenses of 17,000 versus what we've already spent. So we may not be too bad. We may be better off on expenses than we had anticipated, but we're a little below on revenue as well. Okay,
Can I ask if we are getting any performance fees for holiday performances, or if we've been offered any, for example, from Samtrans?
negative.
No,
We have not been. I would, all right, so one thing that I will check into, since the effort that went into the show, right? And then two of the members of my quartet would have opportunity for the hours that they spent on that with Benevity. I will find out and make sure that they have done, because there's a donation based on the number of hours that you allocate. And
That's
so
correct.
I will check with them to make sure that they have submitted, and hopefully we'll get something from them before the end of the year. And I don't know if, Mark, if they do something like that at Facebook or Meta, but if they do, then,
Question, I don't know anything about that.
okay. Okay,
I did not submit any expenses for the props that I built, the sail and the electronic things, but I just wanted you all to know that totaled about $850. I don't intend to submit any expenses for that, but when we're thinking about actually what it cost, we should kind of mentally add that in.
sure.
Yeah, good point. Thank you, Mark, for putting those.
But we could use those,
together.
we could probably use those for something else too, couldn't we?
Maybe, yeah, I'll keep them. We could change the streamer color or whatever.
Yeah, cool.
And location.
All right, so Dave Marley, are you finished with your financial reports? Dave, are you there?
I didn't hear you.
Are you finished with your report?
Yes, I'm finished with the report.
Great,
Well,
thank you.
Questions?
Next is Larry, technology.
We are just cruising right along with all these goodies that we're playing with. I've obviously had a couple of bumps with my camcorder lately. I resolved that yesterday. Briefly, now that Mark mentioned it, maybe we can repurpose those fans for another purpose sometime. But I would say from a technical point and from a sound issue, we've got to make them quieter. Because to be clear, I'd set up the show with only a quartet microphone. And for those of you that have watched the video from our shows, you hear that the quartets, the VLQs, all the actors are nice and you can hear them very clearly, whereas you can't really hear the chorus very well. The level just disappeared because we didn't have additional microphones set up for that. And one of those reasons was I was concerned that if we ran audio for everything except that one song when the fans turn on, it was going to sound really strange. So I learned something from that. I hope that we can also learn that as a cappella singing organization that might need to be amplified, we need to really be careful about adding things that make noise. Other than that, the only other note I have, and I've brought it up for several months now, we've now had 3 weeks in a row, 3 rehearsals in a row where either maybe 1 member or 0 members logged into the Zoom sessions. And again, I wonder what's the value of and time for setting this up every week if guys aren't even coming. And if they are coming, like I've seen guys pop in for 30 seconds and then bail. So I mean, what is the point?
Yeah, I think it was more important when COVID was more flaming. And it seems like people, even folks like Rick King that used to be on Zoom a lot, are now coming in person when they want to come.
Right.
So I think it's okay. You can make the call. If you don't want to set it up, then I'm fine with stopping that.
Yeah, I think the only thing that occurred, we had a couple of guys who were either traveling or were ill, like, Dave L with his busted ankle couldn't come for a few weeks, and, stuff like that. So that's the only scenario there, but it's not a predictable scenario. So I don't, yeah. As long as, Larry, as you're continuing to record them and put the recordings up, because the recordings are very valuable, then I think we're okay without the Zoom.
Yeah, I wouldn't, any event, whether it's rehearsal, whatever, if I'm there, my camcorder will be recording us for review purposes. Some of you know I'm taking the next 2 weeks off. So if I'm not there with my camcorder, there won't be a recording. So in the 2 weeks that actually, right, 1 week, right, Dave? Because the following week is Thanksgiving, so we wouldn't be meeting anyway.
Correct.
So since I won't be there next Thursday, we should set up Zoom with the Zoom camera that's down there and then record it so that I can work with it offline.
Right.
So going forward, I think I'm going to play it week to week and see what's going on, but I just don't see a point in having it up every week if it's not getting utilized. It's just extra stuff that I don't think I need to do.
Yeah, agreed.
That makes sense. I think the only, if there's a need for it, we'll know ahead of time. For instance, if Cindy is going to work with us on something, we need Zoom for that or something like that, then it makes a lot of sense. But on a regular basis, I'm not convinced.
Elliot, you had your hand up.
Oh, no, I was just kind of thinking, yeah, overall, I agree. I mean, one thought was that, well, actually 2 thoughts. One is that recently, I think a lot of it may have to do with the fact that we were focused on the upcoming show, wasn't a regular rehearsal, but I'm not sure about that. The other thing is, the Zoom is non-interactive. So I think you get as much value out of the Zoom recording as you do. I know that very often I'll attend sessions at the time, I'll attend them live, webinars, knowing that they'll be available afterwards, but I may as well do it when it's happening if there's time in my schedule. If my only option is to get it after the fact, then I would get it after the fact. So I'm just wondering whether, we should maybe communicate to people that we're going to stop it, except for, certain circumstances, and just encourage people to make use of the recordings. Because I really think you get the same value. The real-time aspect of it, I think, no longer contributes much, except maybe, for things like Cindy, if we decide to really make it interactive.
Okay,
Yeah, I would
thank
agree
you.
with that. If it's something that's special, something that can be interactive, then we should certainly continue using it. But as just as a static point on every Thursday, I'm already recording it on something else. So, and that's all I've got. I've backed off on my concern about trying to get a live stream set up for the chorus. I will look into it again when we start talking about our next performance.
Thanks, Larry.
Yep.
Okay,
If I may,
Let's just-
Bert had a comment
Bert.
there about something regarding, he put it in
oh,
the
the
chat
camera.
regarding.
Yeah, see my
no,
chat
no.
comment.
He had a chat comment about, does it make sense to promote on Meetup or Facebook or something that you can visit the course live via Zoom or something like that? And I don't know the answer to that. That's an interesting question. I know that we're using Meetup as a means to invite people to come to a rehearsal, and we have had a certain amount of success with that. But I don't know what leverage it would offer in enticing people to come in via Zoom and participate in something if they're not already a Peninsulaire. I don't know if
Yeah,
anybody has any
plus you
comment
don't-
on that.
Yeah, you don't want to put the Zoom invite out in the public domain. You're gonna have people crashing.
And we'd have to have a moderator.
Yeah,
Yeah,
What I've done is like on the guests distribution list, I've often said, if you can't make it in person and think you'd like to be in on the Zoom, let me know and I'll send you the link.
yeah.
And just another thought. So one of the things I think of people like Larry Weiss, who has, and Brian Coughlin, they've been attending, fairly regularly. Again, recently the patterns changed, but they've been attending fairly regularly, and we're part of the stats as active members. And I'm just wondering is there any way to track who is viewing the YouTubes?
Yes. No, not by, I only get a number. I can't see who it is.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is, and maybe we can announce this, is, we'd like to keep track of who's actively engaged. And I can ask people to email me and let me know that, or find some mechanism whereby people can say, I viewed this session, like I attended that rehearsal virtually. Right, in the absence of Zoom, might be a good thing for us to track, because it is a way for people to keep engaged, and it would be nice to acknowledge their engagement.
Right.
Elliot, maybe you could have the people let you know if they're gonna want to be on Zoom, like
I'd rather, I mean, I think Larry's doing enough, and if they want to be on Zoom, then let them find a time to view the, I don't know, if we can just find a way to kind of keep the engagement going, but with this new vehicle that we have good reason, well, it's not a new vehicle, a replacement, which we have good reasons to use, right? Because we're not getting the real-time value out of.
Yeah, I think that we've agreed we're going to go with recordings. I like the idea of keeping some engagement around them. Maybe the Groupinizer attendance feature is the way to do that, and that could also be useful for chorus attendance. It's a little clunky. I wish it was just very fast and easy for me to, note that I'm going to be there. And it just doesn't feel like it's organized in the right way because I have to click into each event. It's the same as Meetup. I'd like it all just on one page.
Right. And it's hard enough getting people to respond to performances, let alone weekly rehearsals. So
okay,
anyway,
thanks, Elliot.
something to think about.
And the stuff is not set up, the YouTube channel stuff that Larry puts up is not on the public. It's a private channel, correct, Larry?
Correct?
So it's not broadcast out. We have to, there's a little. Yeah.
I
So-
guess what I'm suggesting is we could put the link not in email to people, but only on Groupanizer. And then you go into Groupanizer and you say, I'm going to watch this, and you see the link.
Right, no, I understand. There was a comment that in the chat that Bert had about, could we broadcast that to Facebook or Meetup or something else? And I'm not sure that makes sense to do from the standpoint of the, the rehearsals. I don't know.
Yeah, to be clear, the reason for recording rehearsals is for our purpose of review and improvement. That's
Okay.
the intent from the get-go. And so the idea of, sharing on social media, that with this kind of stuff, it ain't gonna happen. Yes, a clip here or two could be used for social media, like a clip of a Facebook or an advertisement. Sure, the product is available, but in general, no. This stuff is for the chorus.
Right, good, bad, and ugly. We only want the good on Facebook, right?
Okay, I'm thinking through the dynamics of attendance. So I think this only comes in importance if we actually have attendance expectations. We've kind of soft announced that, like, the goal is that a specific contributor is there 3 out of every 4 rehearsals. The question in my mind comes, if, like, is that physically there or is that watching? I've always assumed it's physically there. But I think the only, like, if we're doing something that there's actual attendance expectations, then I think that's the point at which we need to, like, decide what does viewing, how much does viewing a rehearsal count, and how do we track that?
Right.
I learned recently about how Fog City does this, and it was really interesting to me. It's not a model that we've ever considered, but they have members, after they've auditioned and they're approved, they have members sign up for a season, and it may be 6 weeks, 8 weeks, a project. And that project could be the next contest, or a certain set of holiday sing-outs, or a certain show, or a recording. And if you sign up for the thing, you are promising you're going to be at 100% of the rehearsals for that thing. But you don't have to sign up. So if you're going to go on a road trip, you just skip that season or 2 of their stuff, and then you're welcome back when you get back. I thought I would propose that we could consider that here. I think it would help solve a problem we have of having a different chorus every week. We get a different subset of the guys there. We don't know where we're standing on the risers necessarily, if different people are present or absent. And I think that makes it harder for the directors too. I don't know if that 100% attendance expectation is realistic for our group, but I thought I would mention how they do it there.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt real quick. We've gone way off track here.
Yes.
VP of Technology's report is complete. All this other discussion is valuable, but let's save it for another area of our meeting. Let's get on with the rest of our reports, please.
Thank you, Larry, for helping me with my job. All right, so next is marketing. That would be Mark.
That's me. Okay. So I thought, let's talk some more about Fog City. No, I'm just kidding. Here's the marketing report. I sent this out very late, just this morning, a little bit before the meeting. So for the show, I want to thank Jack for the work on the placemats. The Facebook ads worked pretty well. I think we got 159 clicks for $250, so a little more than $1 a click. I don't know how many of those bought tickets, because I didn't have conversion tracking set up correctly. So we know we sold a lot of tickets, but we don't know how many of them came from the ads this time. I do know how to fix that for next time. The alts shared feedback on Thursday that we should have had flyers up, and that would have been nice to add. And I also want to really appreciate Dave for sending out all the messages to the chapter email list. I have a caveat at the bottom. There's still a lot of to-dos that I had planned to do during the last month or two. And for the last month, I've been feeling really sick from a cold that just didn't go away until yesterday. So I'm finally feeling like I have energy again, and I'm going to try to do more of these things. And I'll also start talking to Ethan and partnering with him on how to make a good handoff for the new year. You can read the rest of the content here if you're interested, or if there's any feedback, please share.
Mark, thanks for promoting Ethan. I think that's a great strategy, and also your continued helping him to get on board.
You got it.
I agree with that.
All right. We're back to Elliot, chapter development.
Yep. Where's my report? Yeah, so I sent out the report to members instead of board members yesterday. So I don't know if you've seen it, but so one of the things is I've started tracking attendance. Well, maybe I should share my screen. Wait, what am I?
You're showing, this is good.
I think I'm showing the wrong screen.
No, we see it. VP
Oh.
Chapter Development Report, November 2022.
All right, great. Yeah, so based on our last meeting, I've started breaking down attendance by, first of all, I've been including directors, and that number doesn't vary very much week to week, but we should know that's been part of the count. So separating out members, candidates, and guests. So that's what it looks like. And then for the total, I'm still looking at how many were there with Zoom. And as you can see, the numbers have been pretty small. So, looking at the members, the cohort is considerably bigger than it looks, because there are different people attending at different times, and also because there have been a few people absent. But one of the measures that I've been using is looking at the number of people attending at least half of the last rehearsals. Even if we're talking about 3/4, someone who's attending half the rehearsals, maybe that's not the level of participation we would like, but in my mind, they're still, let's say, an active member. So that number's up at 38. There are a number of people who have not been part of that account. I singled out Harry, Liam, and Dave Morley, who've been away for, traveling or for other reasons. So that would bring it up to 41 active members. Again, that does include our directors. So that's where we stand. We have 2 new members based on last board meeting. That's Liam and Bruce. And we have 3 member prospects. Dave Leverance passed his audition on Thursday, and I think he's been a candidate long enough to consider voting him in today. So I might propose that at the right point in the meeting. Wilson has been, sorry, did someone say something? Oh, Wilson has been interested in auditioning and actually will be auditioning next week. And I know Randy was interested, but I haven't heard from him for a while. I have reached out, so hopefully we'll see him or hear back from him soon. So I haven't scheduled anything yet, but Wilson and Randy are potential members for next month. No new candidates. We've had a couple of new guests, Raven Evans and Tai Kong. A couple of weeks ago, I haven't reached out again yet, but I think I will now. I was hoping they'd be back. They came in for the meetup. And then last Thursday, we had another new guest, Gary Ka, as well as a visitor from Montana. I mentioned that lower down. We've had some promising looking young people, especially around the show and the afterglow. I don't know if we're going to see them back. Two of them, John and Fletcher. John actually joined the group, the meetup group, when he found out about the show on the meetup group. He joined it. I reached out to him and he told me, no, I joined because I'm attending the show, but I'm a barber shopper. And for me, from Harmony University, ice cream is code for tags. So I made sure we had Rich and Ethan lined up, and they hung around for quite a while singing tags. So I'm really hoping to see them back. There was also another cohort that attended the evening show of people into a cappella. One of them, Calvin, had been part of a vocal clinic a few years ago, and he's also on Meetup. So I was hoping he would show. I can at least reach out to him. And we were handing out business cards at the Afterglow. There were some people who really engaged with us and with Never Too Late. There was a lot of tag singing happening around the tables at the back of the bar. So hopefully something will come out of that. And lastly, as you saw in the last business meeting in my email, I've been encouraging people to sign up on Meetup and RSVP to rehearsals. And so far the response has been pretty good. We'll see if we can sustain it. And that's it.
Any questions for Elliot? Bert.
Oh, Bert.
I've got a rather sticky question on membership. It's about this guy, Gary, that came last week. I was in the bass section with him, helped him along, gave him a book for the Christmas carols, was singing behind me. I never heard him sing. I looked on the Gary, on Larry's stuff. He never sang, I don't think. He put the book down and just sort of watched us. Now comes the sticky part. So his wife was in the back, and I went after the rehearsal back to his wife to thank him for bringing that thing. And she said, oh, thank you so much for working with him so much. He has a bit of dementia. So I think he turns out he went to Cornell. He was in the Cornell Glee Club. He sung. His parents were musical beyond belief. So the guy's got musical parts. Unfortunately, they may not be working. Now we're an inclusive chorus. Do we want a guy standing on the risers, not planning to sing? I offer this as some kind of a question about what do we do with Gary if he shows up again?
My view would be, as long as he's not detracting, he doesn't sound like someone we would push to advance as a candidate. And by the way, his wife had to fill out his guest sheet with the information. So I had the sense that something, might be a bit off. I know we've had prior experience with people that, like Jason, who was with us for a while, who just couldn't kind of, keep the pitch. And it was really a problem. In this case, I don't think, I'm not sure I'd want to discourage him from returning as a guest. As a matter of fact, I just sent him an email thanking him and provided him with a link to the virtual guest book. I did ask him yesterday whether he was interested in that, and he said yes. So I went ahead and was welcoming. We have other stops that I think we can use. So that's my feeling.
I think that's a good approach, Elliot.
Well, I'm curious what the directors think about somebody standing on the risers and not contributing.
Here's my thought, Bert. And Mike, you can come in on this as well. Here's my thought that I don't know if necessarily stand. I don't know if necessarily standing on the risers would be the thing, but if he's not a performer or becoming a member in that respect, if they wanted to come back and have him sit beside the risers or something like that, I would be fine with that. But I'm not sure if he's not able to contribute something to the performance or that he should probably be on his space. Mike?
Yeah, I agree with that. The risers are meant to be for folks who are going to be active contributors. On the side is fine. The other observation is that we do have a gate between guest and candidate of voice placement. And so after a week or two, like we can use that as a tool to like kind of gently set that expectation. But at the end of the day, the risers are for singers, not for listeners.
Dave Morley looks like he's raising his hand, and we muted you, Dave, because you were getting some feedback.
All right, as someone who is very familiar with dementia, I would encourage him to stand on the side and do the best he can. Obviously, he's not gonna probably join us as a member, but it's really good for him if he's there. And I would encourage that.
I agree.
Music is the last thing to go.
Yes.
In the dementia world.
Yep.
Yeah, if you watch him on the on Larry's thing, you can see he's actually enjoying it. He's paying attention, that sort of thing. So Dave is absolutely right. There was something going on.
Yeah.
All right.
So I just didn't get, maybe I didn't hear part of it, but so Dave, is your point, are you suggesting that we should allow him to continue to participate that way, or do you agree with Curtis and Mike that we should perhaps use the placement as a point where we can get him off the risers and into the and participating by being in the audience? I wasn't sure how you felt about that.
I would suggest that he stand on the side, right beside Bert or another bass, and take part as much as he can. And certainly not become a member of the audition. He won't be able to do that. But yeah, it's good for him. And that's what we're about.
So maybe use the placement as an opportunity to have that discussion and suggest that he, we'd still like you to, you're welcome to come, but maybe it's best for you not to be on the risers, but you can.
No, I think he's saying that he stands where we're all standing, but next to someone in the front row, way off to the side. Not like separated, but
right.
But so we're not discouraging. We don't want to give him a sense of being less than. Okay, we want to provide a level of inclusion. It's good for him. It serves the purpose of our outreach to the community. And I think that if it's done this way, and Mike and Curtis will have to comment on this, I don't think it will be distracting, especially if he's not really singing, but he's just sort of enjoying himself and doing, singing in his head, or even if that's what I think I'm hearing. Mike and Curtis, does that resonate as a positive with you?
Yeah, that's resonating with me as we're talking about it. And yeah, I had noticed he didn't appear to be singing on Thursday night too when he was up there, and I didn't realize there was the other issue. And that was, I thought maybe he couldn't hear. And that's why I moved him more to the center on Thursday night, thinking if I put them in the center of the ensemble, we'll have people in both ears. But you know how we have people who come to the side and they're participating, but sometimes they're just waiting to take their place on the riser, so they're not interrupting rehearsal. That space, if he wants to come and participate and be in that space there, so he's literally just right beside the riser, so he's with the ensemble and he's not detracting. I think that's going to be excellent.
Yeah, it's got to be on the edges. It's got to, like, the reality of it is that, like, we already have way too many people in the front row. Like, it's got to be on the edges.
Bert,
Elliot, do you want to take care of him when he walks in the door and hand him off to me, and we'll put him to my left? And I think he wants to sit, so we can put a chair to my left, which will be off the edge of the risers, so we can kind of work between you and I to accommodate him.
Yeah, I just want to include, Larry, are you on board with this approach? Like, Bert, were you his mentor or coach? Were you like sort of assigned to him?
Not officially, but I ended up taking it.
Yeah, so Larry, you okay with that as section lead?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Sounds good.
I agree that he should join us on the edge, not take a space. I didn't have more than 10 seconds to say hello to him and try to place him next to our other guest. I believe that was Alan on Thursday night. And what I did is I placed them in front of, left and right of Mark Wilson. I told Mark, work with these guys tonight. And I told them, you'll be able to hear Mark behind you. That'll help you. That'll help you a little bit. But I had no idea until you mentioned it that this gentleman was, and I didn't notice it until videos, that he wasn't really singing much.
okay, guys, we're running a little bit late. Dave, you want to make a final comment?
I was just gonna say, if they come Thursday night, I'll take an opportunity to talk to his wife and
Yeah,
tell her that I teach for the Alzheimer's Association, and I'd be happy to do some counseling.
great, thank you.
This all sounds good and we're all on the same page, so I'm happy.
Dave?
I have two things for Elliot. First, and maybe you could act on this. I got a message from who did I get the message from? Rich Postal, with a suggestion that at the Mountain View tree lighting afterwards, maybe a group of the guys might want to go grab a bite to eat, and then they could do tag singing wherever they go. So I think that's worthy of communicating to the members, and since it ties into chapter development kind of stuff, mention that to you. And the second thing is, you commented on having got Rich and Ethan and a couple other guys read together for tag singing at the show, right? We've got these performances coming up at the farmers market, and then the other one that's at the in Morgan Hill. And maybe it makes sense to find out who's going to be at these things, and you can have someone prepared to do tag singing with anybody that we could corral into doing that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. I think the message is we should, I guess, be more kind of structured or purposeful in planning tag singing around events, so that we maximize our chances of drawing in people.
Right.
So you're thinking of Morgan Hill, and what was the other one?
Palo Alto Farmers Market. That's
Right,
it.
thanks, guys. Well, let's move along. We don't have a program representative here. So let's move on to music. Dave Coker.
That's me, I guess. Okay, so I sent out the report. I'm guessing you guys can see this. I sent this out early to the board. And since this was for the November meeting from the month of October activities, I thought it would make sense to retouch on what we did in October, which was the Fresno convention. And taking a look at our scoring again, it was interesting to me that the music and the performance areas were higher than the singing, and it was just, there was one judge that really was less impressed than the others, I guess, relative to the singing thing. However, you know, this is what happened there. And then our 40-minute review, we had 40 minutes with a presentation judge, the two of them actually, and I felt that the input that we got was actually very interesting. And there were some cool things that came out of that relative to understanding the nature of the song and what you're trying to accomplish with the song, which are things we've touched on in the past in our rehearsals, and also when we had guests like Deke Sharon. But the improvement in the other parts of our performance, of our musicality and singing, just in that 40-minute segment when we were focusing on some of the things that they mentioned to us, seemed to me to be really positive and helped us have a better performance. Had we done it that way when we did it, my guess is our scores would have been significantly higher. So hopefully we can begin assimilating those kinds of things as an ongoing basis, which means individuals making some adjustments and adaptations to the way they approach, you know, a rehearsal. So the rest of it is all about the show, which was in November as opposed to October. But hey, we had a lot of stuff that we did in November, a lot of rehearsals. Thanks to all the members of the team, Larry, John, Mark, you know, et cetera, that were involved in the coordination. It was phenomenal that the work that went into this, and having a number of individuals, like we had 7 people or so that were taking responsibility for certain areas, which was a blessing for me, because it took a lot of responsibility. It was able to be redistributed, and everybody pulled their own weight and did really, really well. And the net result showed. We had a great show. We had lots of people in the audience at each show. The set looked fantastic. We sang well. People loved it. They enjoyed the food. They enjoyed the experience, and we made money. So that was a very good thing from my perspective. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I have to say.
Dave, can I ask that you correct one typo?
Sure.
Barbara Bernasso with an O on the end.
Oh, I typed it wrong. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
So
All right.
Elliot.
Yeah, so I don't know if this warrants updating the report. Maybe it does, but I think my wife, Fanny Obadia, deserves
Yeah, Fanny
a
was
big shout out. I mean, she was there
both
Saturday.
shows.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Hours
she was critical.
shopping and putting together baskets, and
Yeah.
she was even on a Zoom call with Melinda and Barbara yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
So,
There-
I think
there-
she should be on that list.
I absolutely, I agree with you. She put in a lot of, one other thing that is not in the report that just sort of developed. I had asked Barbara if it was possible to get the names of the individuals who had purchased something in the silent auction. Many of them, hopefully we will have emails for, because if they bought a ticket online, we have their email address. So I'm thinking that we would send them an acknowledgement and a thank you, and, you know, that sort of a thing. So that's sort of on my plate to address. And Mike or Mark, I might coordinate with you on that, because I think there's a tie into a marketing possibility on that as well. But then I'll check in with you independently on that.
Okay, well, I wanted to also give you feedback from Melinda and Barbara and Fanny. They're putting together a report, kind of a follow-up report on how we can improve our auction feature moving forward. And so they've put a lot of work into this, and just want to let you guys know you'll be receiving a report fairly soon.
Cool.
Along the same axis, there was a lot of good feedback in the from my email / share of the deck. At least 8 members contributed feedback to that, and 2 guest members. So if you have not, like, I don't know if we're doing the retrospective now or whatever else, but the gist is that there's a lot of strong opinions floating around on the show, and a lot of good learnings that can be captured.
Yeah, I felt that the singing improved considerably between the afternoon and the evening performances. And I don't know if that's whether there's any way to move it back and just do it right the first time, or what to do about that. But it's something that I think a lot of people noticed.
Great, thank you. Well, that ends our formal reports. Do I hear a motion to accept the reports?
So moved.
Second? Dave Cogerhook, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay. So the reports are approved. In the old business area, I don't know if we want to spend time on this, but it's reviewing the output from the strategic planning meeting. Do we want to spend any time on that, or shall we postpone that for a later time?
The only input on that was, and this goes directly to the show learnings that I read about on that deck. The first one was a strong inclination among some of our younger members to say less spectacle, more quality, like in terms of the singing product. And also, and that reinforces with what we were hearing at the strategic planning. And also, there was a lot of interest in building an auxiliary organization. And if we have strong, like I feel like Barbara and Fanny, and I feel like somebody else are like feeling passionate to help the group. I feel like this was something that came up during the strategic planning of like, can we have an organizer for the volunteers or for the helpers or something like that?
That's a great idea, Mike. I like that. Paul?
Yeah, something came up along this lines at our competition in Fresno, and it was Bert's wife wanted a badge as a, she's done so much for the chorus and everything. So I wanted to just bring that up. If we want to do anything like that for the women that are helping out, or the people who are helping out, like this auxiliary thing, do we want to get them a little badge like ours that does, with their name and, just auxiliary? I don't know what.
Also t-shirts were suggested by the gals yesterday on their call, so we can talk about that too. Good idea. Okay, new business. Do we want to do any follow-up on the
Bert, just unmute. Bert has his hand up here.
Bert?
We once did have a women's auxiliary. It was called Staff, STAFF. My wife had some aprons from that olden time set of people. So if you form up a women's auxiliary or an auxiliary, let me know and I can probably furnish a few aprons.
That might be a little on the nose.
I think I have that.
The new one will be STAPH.
Okay. So any other follow-up for the convention?
Yes,
All right. Who?
I have a couple of points regarding contest. One is technical one is organizational. There were several guys missing from the evaluation because they weren't notified. Not all of us have smartphones and get email on our phones, or if we do, we don't know how to use them. I would suggest that going forward that the chorus stays together until we know the evaluation time and location. We scattered. I know there was a lot going on. We had props to move, but we scattered. And we were unable to get everybody back together in that room. In the past, as I recall, there was kind of an unwritten rule that the chorus kind of stays together until we get the score and we know what's happening next. And it didn't happen. We scattered. On a technical point, which also relates to evaluations, I'm going to ask our directors to please make sure that you give your technical VP the time to set up his camera, because I do record evaluations. I've also done audio recordings on occasion when I couldn't have a camera, but I was running all over the place trying to get going. And of course, being a distraction to everything that was going on, trying to find power, trying to find good angle for the camera to pick up the sounds of our judges. So I would ask that at our next convention and going forward, that you remember that you've got a guy that's trying to capture these events.
All right.
Larry, we're at the schedule of the judges, not at our schedule.
No, hang on. Doors were open. Judge was not there yet. And I was still scrambling to find a place to
Okay. Yeah, so at the end of the day, we have a lot, like Curtis and I have a lot of responsibilities during the day. We're doing our absolute best. We can take the input, but at the end of the day, we have a job to do. Like we're working to do our job to the highest level we can.
I think the key here is once we know where our room will be, Larry, and what the timing for us will be, that maybe you and I can coordinate the an effort. If we know ahead of time where the room might be and we can scope out the room even before they start having reviews for others, we'll know where the power cables are and the electricity is and stuff like that, then maybe we can plan for it. Then in terms of how do we position the chorus so that we can have the best angle view, I think Mike and Curtis, that's going to be something that is going to be on your shoulders to accommodate the limitations that might be in the room relative to angles and stuff like that.
My point
Elliot.
was, we'd started the process before I had a chance to get anything going.
Right.
Moving on.
Elliot.
Variation on Larry's first point. I agree we need to meet beforehand and coordinate. Everyone needs to know when and where the eval is. But I would rather, Fanny tends to attend these things with me. We have 2 reserved seats. Sometimes there are a whole bunch, there's a whole bunch of show. I don't want to leave her alone there. I think another way to handle that would be as part of our, we have a schedule and a plan beforehand, call time, such and such, so part of that plan should be meet at this place at the end of the show, so that we can plan, at the end of the chorus competition, meet at that place. We have an approximate time based on the schedule, but at that point we meet up somewhere, we communicate things and take it from there. That's my proposal.
Good suggestion. Dave
Larry,
Coconut.
do we happen to have, or can we put together a text message distribution list. Is there a way to send out that information? We be here this time, because Elliot's comment makes some sense in terms of sometimes it makes sense a guy isn't gonna hang out right next with the group. But when we know where and when to meet, is there a way that we could create a distribution list, text message, and just send out a blast message to everybody?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That would have also been useful for, all the missteps around the afterglow. We were getting emails. I was getting texts from Brian Healy. It would have been nice if we had that text distribution list.
Good idea. Okay, fall show up. Fall show follow up.
Easy for you to say.
Any comments on that you want to add?
We've covered quite a bit. I don't know that there's, much of anything else to say about the fall show. I think we need to use this as and somebody mentioned, I think Mark Torrance mentioned it earlier, our tribal knowledge about how this went, consolidate that into a Google Doc so that we can leverage this knowledge moving forward and enhance and improve. So that's the only thing I can think of.
And I would say, echo.
Danny?
Danny, can you please?
Is there a committee of writing the show?
Danny, I had a point to make. Your phone is echoing like mad. Could you give me a second? The point I have, the point I want to make with regards to our production, our show. I thought we did pretty well at contest with only 10 weeks with 2 new songs. But regardless of whether it's an acting production with script and all that sort of stuff, 3 weeks was really pushing it, guys. We had an awful lot to do in a short period of time. And I don't know how or why the schedule became so tight, but I think going forward, we need to make sure that we're giving ourselves more time to prepare for a performance so that we can bring that quality of performance to our audiences. 3 weeks was just too tight.
Right, good. All right.
I think Danny had a comment. You want to unmute now and hear Danny's comment?
Yep.
He's going to have to unmute himself.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. Was there a committee of writing the script? Because I tried to help out with the script, and it turned out to be it was mostly Dave's. So was there a committee at all of writing the script? Can you understand me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
The answer to the question is, was there a committee to write the script? No, there's never, for any of the things that for this particular show, the answer is no. Though I had sent out the script a couple of times and asked for input from people. I know I got some input from you, Danny, early on, but only one, but not a lot of input from anybody else. So it was like, okay, well, I guess this is on my shoulders. So if there's anything, when we do future shows, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
So when we do future shows, if we want to put, I mean, I don't know how most, if we wanted to put a team together to develop the scripting for the show, makes a lot of sense to me. Hasn't been the case a lot of times in the past. And but you know, one guy writing all the stuff is okay, but it's not necessarily, you don't necessarily end up with the coolest stuff. But so yeah, by all means, once we know what our show theme is going to be well enough ahead of time, then developing a script and identifying the inclusion of songs, which songs, where, when, blah, 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 is able to be done. And the more time you have to do that, the better. The fewer last minute changes that you make, the better. But so it's advance notice, and certainly identifying people with the intent and willingness to sit down and collaborate is a good thing.
Yeah, so I just want to say that.
Is anyone writing this down?
It's being recorded.
Yeah, but like recording versus an actionable retrospective. Okay, I'm just going to add this feedback onto the retrospective sheet.
Okay, good.
There's been a lot of thanks going around, but I want to thank Dave K for all he did.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to say, as far as the script went, that,
It was a lot of fun. Reading it through and through was, it was a lot of fun. And with a little more time, I bet we could have really nailed it.
And I just wanted to say, that it's a complex problem to try and force songs that we have learned, that we have ready, into a pirate theme when most of them have nothing to do with pirates is a complex job. And I thought Dave did as well as anybody could have with that fairly impossible task. So
yeah. Outstanding. Okay.
Bert has a hand up.
Bert.
So speaking of future shows, we now have a January 26th Thursday night show to put on at Channing House. These are my people. I'd like to do a pirate show with just the bow and the stern and whatever, but we got to do an hour's worth of Channing House, and I'd like it to be around the pirate show, and I don't want to get embarrassed in front of my people. I don't want to stand and sing on this thing. I want something really funny and fun. So you guys who are going to write shows, go to it.
Thanks,
Okay,
Bert.
so we're not going to write a brand new script for Channing House. What is going to happen is that we're going to tailor and pare down the script that we have to hit the main beats and to kind of deliver into. So I want everybody to realize, like, this show was hard to pull off. There was a ton of effort going on behind the scenes. There was a ton of stress going on behind the scenes. We comported ourselves well, but like, let's not delude ourselves. We were forgetting lines. We were like we almost, there were points where we almost missed entire songs. There was a lot that could be better. All of this is captured in the feedback that is in the retrospective. But the point being that I would hope that we can get 2 or 3 more performances of the Pirates show out, and amortize the cost and effort and value of that product, and make and get a couple 2, 3 more shows out of it, and make some money off of it would be nice. So that's kind of the goal, that we don't write a brand new script, that we just pair and refine the existing script to turn it into a 25-minute roadshow.
Paul.
Yeah, Mike asked if anyone's getting this down. Just to clear up, my job is, I get it roughly what we're doing, the basics, and make sure I get all the motions and stuff, but I don't copy it, I don't put down everything that we say, so you'd have to look on the tape for that.
Okay.
I would
anything
just make
specific?
one more comment on the script stuff. So I know, Danny, you had mentioned an interest in getting involved with the script to me. I wasn't working on the script, but you mentioned that a month or so before the show. And all I would say is, I think that is good. That enthusiasm is good. And I agree with the idea of having like a team or a committee can work on stuff. It is good to have probably one person's vision, as sort of the buck stops here person that's like the main editor or director for the show, or else it won't have the kind of integrity of voice that is needed in any kind of successful dramatic production. If you wanted to take that job on for some future show and be the main writer, I would support that. If you want to have input to some other main writer, I would also support that. But I just wanted to say, you know, in hindsight, I wish we'd found a way to get you more involved, but there's always the next show. And I know we have a show theme planned for sometime in the next couple of years about villains. I don't know what thinking has already gone on between Mike and Curtis about the content of that show or the songs, but it's never too early to begin thinking about that and what kind of shtick or scenes or whatever we could put into there.
Okay, so Mike, you're editing something, and sharing with us?
Sorry, so this is all the feedback that we got on the show. So we got some from Les, Terry Moore, Nick and his mom, Shiv. You know, so Matt Bloom did a big write-up. So there's a lot of value in this. I don't know what the plan is for like doing a retrospective on the show. We kind of went straight into the course, but like there should be a deliberate attempt to capture some of these learnings. Somebody summarized for me, like we've had like 3 conversations about the show so far. Like what are the key salient points that have come up in the last hour?
Script writing.
The singing was better in the evening, and we wish we could have sung better in the afternoon. The fans are noisy, and we can't have noise when we're performing, and want to maybe amplify the sound.
Oh, if I can just add to that, I'm not sure we should allow children below a certain age at the dinner show. I think that was a real problem.
Yeah,
How
like an
was it?
kind of person. It was a big distraction during some of the quartets and VLQs to have that kid making noise.
Especially
Okay.
on my solo. Those 2 kids did disrupt.
And moving props around.
Another
Don't
thing,
forget the auxiliaries.
and sorry, this is new, but another thing is the format of a buffet. Because of that, people don't really get to sit together. You know, like one party's finished eating by the time the other party has gotten their food. That's one bit of feedback I got. I don't know how others feel about it.
Have we ever had serving at the tables?
Always.
Yes.
Elliot is a solution, and the chorus has generally done that, which has reduced the ability to drive focus into the into preparing preparing our musical product, right?
It's important to understand that in this particular instance, we were limited in our ability to use the kitchen for any food preparation. Therefore, we needed to have something that could be delivered buffet style rather than delivered to your table, because the kitchen was non-operational.
Understood, but so then the feedback I would add to that is that we should try and lower the number of choices, which also goes into the price, and optimize the way in which people can make those choices, either by getting the information at the table or somewhere, because a lot of time was taken up by people figuring out what they want. So you had to wait in line a long time before you got back to the table. So if we're going to do a buffet, we should try and optimize the efficiency.
Double-sided serving lines would help.
Yeah, if people can serve themselves. Yeah.
What else? Well, why don't, if you got other ideas, why don't you email them to Mike C? You can add
Yeah,
them
let's
to the
add them. Let's add
Just-
them directly to this document. Like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna write
So
for you
Mike,
guys.
Mike, maybe you can, if you haven't already, you could email the link to the board, to people, the board members.
Yeah, I think I emailed that on Monday, Sunday, something like
Oh,
that.
that's right. I do believe that. Yes, you did. Yep, sorry.
Okay. Are we done, or do we need to work on this some more?
Let's move on.
Okay, so the last item of the new business is 2023 planning. Do we need to do anything at this time?
I think maybe the thing to do. Danny's unmute. There we go. I think maybe what we need to do is from those individuals who are responsible for an area, to prepare a something for our next board meeting, which is in December, right? As to, you know, what they are looking at for 2023 and beyond. Harry will be back by then. He's still just getting back from Israel, I think, this week. So, which is why he's not with us today. But Dana, it might be useful to coordinate with him just in terms of, you know, two things, planning for the future, but also the installation dinner scenario.
Yes, right.
But for those of us, Larry, myself, Elliot, Dave, Morley, et cetera, to kind of like put together a thought or a plan or concept for 2023. And then we can review that at the next board meeting would be my suggestion.
And I need budget information
Right, which is, yeah, good point.
to prepare a draft budget.
Okay.
In the show retro, we didn't talk about the price, but I didn't hear any objections or criticism about the prices, even though this was higher than we've charged before. Did other people hear that the price was too high?
No,
I think Ethan and Shiv mentioned it to me. I know Ethan did. I don't remember if Shiv did.
I think that they think the price is too high for the quality that we're able to deliver. And I think that's a separate issue. I think this is a fair price for the kind of show that we put on, and compared to any other entertainment you can pay to go see something live, this with food, this was fair.
I agree.
Agreed.
I agree.
I disagree, but we can move on.
Okay, so that's Danny, okay. So Mike C and Curtis, do you have any?
Wait.
Comments.
I think we have another new business thing that Elliot.
Oh,
needs to
that's
bring
right.
up.
Yeah,
Actually,
sorry.
there were two, but one of them, we need to wait. So just for people to think about for next time, I think we should revisit the COVID protocol. I'm the one that's always there asking for proof of vaccine, and I don't know. I don't think
That's something to address at the planning meeting.
Yeah, we should have Harry there. And then the other thing is vote on Dave Leverance as a new member.
Is there a motion?
Can I move?
I second.
Discussion now. Any thoughts on Dave? Larry and Bert, you guys are around him as a singer in the bass section. Bert?
He'll
Bert,
get there. He'll get there. He's a
Dave-
fun guy. He's learned a lot of music in a short period of time. I think fortunately his broken ankle gave him a little more time to spend on music. So I think he's going to be fine. A quick example of his audition, he was clearly nervous in the first run. He knows who will buy because he proved it the second time through and with a little guidance from Mike C. So yeah, Dave is definitely a keeper.
He's enthusiastic. He's got a Navy background of leadership, so you really might want to make this guy the chorus manager. So he's really got leadership ability for doing something like chorus manager. So go for him.
okay. Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. All right. Thank you, guys. Mike C. and Curtis, any further director comments?
Go for it, Kurt.
I was going to say, I think we've actually covered a lot of the things that I'd comment on, which were the contest and the takeaways from that. In particular, Mike and I have been discussing to make sure that are embedding craft into the rehearsal across all of our music to make sure that singing instruction and things like that are going on in every piece of music, so that we that was the one area at the contest that not necessarily a wake-up call, but was like, oh, you know what, felt like perhaps didn't do my job the way I needed to do it in the last few months. And I want to make sure that we are improving on that in the next several going forward. All of that being said, as the director, I was extremely proud of the work that we have done the last several months in preparation for both contest and the show. Feedback I got on the show was that even with our script issues of things happening, it was incredibly entertaining, incredibly charming. I feel as a performing organization, we need to make sure that we don't rely necessarily on charm, but we are presenting that excellent product going forward. And on that note, again, it comes down to the quality of, as Mike and I have discussed, is making sure that we give ourselves enough lead time to be running the show more than just 1 to 2 weeks before the show. So we may need, if we're going to do this kind of major production again, we may need to be running the show, 6 to 8 weeks fully out, rather than just the 2 rehearsals beforehand. But other than that, not a whole lot else going on that I think I need to comment on. Mike?
Thanks, Curtis.
All right. For me, the thing that I'm thinking the most about is that it seems like the same names are coming up over and over again. What I mean by that is this rhetorical question. We have 38 members in this chorus. How many of them have jobs? How many of them are being actively engaged to contribute administrative volunteer wise for this organization? My sense is, as board members, there's a lot of individual commitment, and that's great. But like this board, as an organizational leader in a variety of contexts, there's opportunity to delegate some stuff. There's opportunity to engage other members and increase engagement on the back on the rank and file stuff. So and we know that engagement directly translates to longevity in volunteer organizations. So I encourage the board to think about who can you talk to and say, hey, can you help me do X? Or can you take this responsibility from me? I've been very aware that we've been making trade-offs from a singing product perspective for the last several weeks. I think our results over the last duration have been good, not great. And I feel that, like, you know, when there's a lot of active distractions. There's a lot of non-singing stuff going on during singing time, and we need help to get back to, we are fundamentally a singing organization and we want to have a great singing product. So that's what I think. That's what I'm going to be focusing on. I think Curtis feels very passionate about that as well. So that's what I'm thinking about. Let me close on a positive note. Dave, fantastic job on the script. Fantastic job for everything you did as a show chairman effectively. Thank you. This show is successful because of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, guys. Well, let's move into good of the chapter. Paul, you want to lead us off?
All right. Well, you know, the show was great, the show and everything, and then and now doing the holiday songs and stuff is fun, and it's good to see so much participation and guests and everything, interest in the chorus. So yeah, it's been great. I look forward to you know, the future.
Thanks, Paul. Elliot.
Yeah, I'm just in awe of what the chorus has accomplished. I mean, in terms of the competition, the new songs, the short period of time, the show, the complexity of the show, the success of the show in very little time. And obviously that a big part of that is the leadership, and, you know, big props to our co-directors, to Dave for the script, to Larry for putting together, you know, that set and so many other aspects of it. And yeah, I just think we did a great job.
Thanks, Elliot. Mike Oliver.
Yeah, so I'm delighted to be part of this organization. I'm very, very proud of us. I got lots of great feedback on the show. It was mostly about the performance. I think we've been doing great on performance. I really want us to do better on singing. I want myself to do better on singing. I really want us to focus on singing. And I think I've started to become more critical in my ear than I used to be. And maybe that's the first step to improving my own product. But it also, there's a moment where I'm less satisfied with our product because I hear it more accurately, I think. And I hope that we can get past that, and I can continue to hear more accurately, but will actually be better. And I want to make myself a part of that. All that said, this is a wonderful organization. I'm so happy to be part of it.
Thanks, Mike. Bert, would you like to share?
I want to thank you board members for the work you do, for both your future thinking as well as your past retrospectives and tackling the tough problems. So and allowing guests to come to your meeting and look in. So I appreciate the hard work you guys do, and thank you.
Thank you, Bert. Dave Cokerhook.
I was exhausted after that Saturday, the 5th, and it took me a week to recover. But I am, I'm looking forward to what we can do in 2023, because though we've made some really positive advancements as an organization from the singing perspective, from the recruitment perspective, from the program presentation of performance perspective, etc. I think there's lots of opportunities for us that are low-hanging fruit opportunities that we can grab, that's going to take us to a level that I may not have experienced with this. I know that I will say that I haven't experienced with the chorus in my 17 years here. So I'm excited about what we are looking at coming down the pike, and look forward to a really fabulous 2023. And I want to thank all the returning board members who agreed to this, since I was on the committee for that. I want to thank all you guys who are returning on the board. Appreciate your continued contribution. And I think bringing Ethan in is going to be a positive thing. And we just need to channel his enthusiasm.
Great. Thank you, Dave. Danny.
Well, I think this organization is due. Can you hear me? First of all, because when you guys, you can't, when you talk to me, when I'm on unmute, I can't hear nothing right now. So I think this organization is doing fine. I think that we can, for 2023, do a better job. I'd like to propose another venue to sing at and host 400 people in another venue. It has a working kitchen. I'd like to also propose that basses are having a problem with their tones. You'd need to put a pitch pipe on that side, so that we can have an easier rehearsal, because it is painful. When you go on the other side, that room is a dull room, and I could hardly hear the pitch that Ethan was blowing, and you can't hear. So you've got to put another pitch pipe that the basses can hear properly. And I think that would help our chorus immensely if we can hear. If we can hear, we're doing a very good job. I'm glad I came back to barbershop, and I'd like to put more effort into the show with a committee and brainstorm a better, a real nice show that will be, it will flow like a real show. So, I have nothing else to say.
Thank you. Thank you. Losing my voice. Thank you, Danny. Mark Torrance.
Well, I really agree with what Mike said about involving more people as subcommittees or helpers for the board, so we get more to come distribute the organizational responsibilities across more people. I think that we want to recruit younger men to sing with us, and we have a few, and I would like us to pay more attention to their feedback about the show and the chorus. So like Shiv is very critical of how we sound, and I think that, you know, we're doing our best, we're trying, but I want to put a little I mean, a few people said, let's sing better. And I agree with that. I really think we need to put some seriousness behind that goal in order to keep people like Shiv interested in staying involved with the chorus. And then my last thing is, I was really excited to see so many people at our show. And we, you know, 8 weeks out, we didn't even know if we were going to have 2 shows. And we ended up having 2 shows, pretty full house both times. The fact that we had oversold some ghost tickets notwithstanding, it was a good audience to sing to, and they were a very responsive audience. And it was really fun, especially having Carrie and Don sitting right in the front and center in the first show, and just enthusiastically watching us as we sang. So I hope that every show can be as fun from an audience perspective as this one was.
Great, thanks, Mark. Larry.
I love our group. I love our organization. You know, when we put our heads together, we get stuff done. I thought the show went off pretty well. Everybody I talked to enjoyed what we did. Yeah, there were a few bumps in the road and little things here and there, but in general, given the amount of time that we had to put this thing together, I thought it went really well. And as far as, you know, going forward and for the good of the chorus always, because we are a singing organization, now that we've got some time, I'm sure that our co-directors will also have more time to work more craft with us. Thursday night was a great example of it. We only went through a few tunes on Thursday, but we went through them with the type of precision that our directors want us to sing and feel. So I have a feeling that going forward with more time available to us, that our directors won't feel so stressed and, oh God, what are we gonna do tonight? They'll bring it. And as long as we're receptive to what they're trying to teach us, we're going to be singing a lot better.
Thanks, Larry. Dave Marley.
I'm sorry I wasn't singing in the show, but my travels didn't allow it. And I want to personally thank Dave for the script. I thought it was super. And Larry for everything he did to set it all up. I think the show went off very well. As a person sitting in the audience, it was very entertaining. So congratulations to everybody.
Thank you, Spy Pirate. Curtis, do you have anything to add?
Spy pirate,
Mysterious
guy.
Yeah, I actually, as I said just a little bit earlier, I was super, just great positive feedback for the show from people. And any of the rough edges I alluded to earlier, that's just, you know, let's work that next time. And I'm very proud of what we did do this past a few months. Just one thing I also want to kind of like highlight is, and I've said this to Mike and I've been saying this to Dave for the past couple of weeks, and it really was driven home by the show, was the volunteerism and the energy of so many people coming to rehearsal every week, coming to, you know, building sets, building water spouts, building costuming, building the script. It just absolutely blows me away, the passion that our members have for our art and the passion for making it fun, the passion for making it excellent. All of that works out. And, you know, to be from a director standpoint, you know, this past Thursday, I was expecting the post-show droop in terms of numbers and singing, and it wasn't there. Everybody brought their game and was there Thursday night ready to go. And so that just reminds me how much, as one of the directors, that I can, you know, don't have to rest, but I can keep challenging the guys, and that's a lot of fun.
Thanks, Curtis. Mike C.
already said it. Thanks everybody for the continued energy, passion, leadership. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Well, from my perspective, I'm continue to be impressed by all of you guys supporting the board and you guys who are going to continue on next year. Thank you for that. Also, this show, I invited about 20 people. I had a big crowd there, and to a man and a woman, they all just enjoyed this tremendously. And they said it's the best show that we put on in memory. And so thank you all who worked so hard, especially Dave and Larry, but all the rest of the workers as well. So I'm excited about next year, excited about improving our singing in all aspects of our craft. So thanks, guys. And that's all I have. We're finished. I call this meeting adjourned.
Okay, thank you, everybody. See you all Thursday.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.